All right.
Yep.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dead Zone podcast. Today, unfortunately, we're not in the studio, although it's for good reason. I can't entirely fly people out from Europe, but we've got Kian, the guy. Well, I actually got to correct myself because in my video I said, "Oh, it's the guy suing Mojang." It's a group. It's a group lawsuit, not just you.
Yep. A
But
collective class
you're
action
the
lawsuit.
guy that filed it.
It's technically not filed yet. It's in the process. But like
Oh.
you could say, I'm the one that's like representing it per se.
You're the representative of the lawsuit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got the guy. How's it going?
Kind of stressful, just as usual for the past week. But other than that, very good.
Dude, I can imagine it's like I've never had to file or do anything like that for a lawsuit. So
Yeah.
I,
It's mostly the expectations of thousands and millions of people expecting you to not mess it up.
millions. Yeah, millions of people. I mean, your
Yep.
video got, it's what is that, 3 million views in just over a week?
I think it's at 3.1 million. It
That's
reached. Let me check.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it reached a million within day one. It reached on day two. It was at 1.3 million, about there.
Were you expecting that to happen?
No, I was just looking at the graph and it's like, oh, it's going up. Oh, it's going up. Oh, wait a minute, it's trending. And it's
It
like gaining
just
trending number
it
40,
just
gaining trending
it
number
just
30.
kept going.
Then we hit, I think, general trending number 5. Let's just say I'm never good at getting the YouTube confetti again.
That is no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a few questions. I was thinking maybe should I post and get community questions, but I think I know most of the questions people are going to ask, so I've just written out some bullet points here.
Yep. Did you happen to read through the 12,000 word document, by the way?
I read some of it, not all of it.
Oh yeah, no. There are some people that actually are working on translating the entire thing. I didn't tell them to translate it, but they just started translating. I was like, no, why would you do this to yourself?
Like translating it by shortening it or
No,
translating
no,
it
no.
into
They're
other
translating.
languages?
Yeah, they're translating
Oh,
everything. Like
that
the idea initially was to just translate the GoFundMe, which is what we right now have in like. Let me check. Yeah. Translations right now we have French, German, Dutch, Hebrew, and Italian, and we've got a few more working in the background. Like the idea was first to just do the GoFundMe, but then someone started doing the actual 12,000 word document. Like, I never asked you to do that because that has to be such a miserable experience.
people are no, you've really got everybody. I mean, this reminds me of when I used to play a game called Unturned on my channel. That's actually how I got started, right? And it reminds me of that where the public, they love you. You're a big they're big fans, but the powers at be, like the people that run the game and some of the other influencers in the community aren't so fond. It reminds
Yeah.
me of that. So you've got the public, which is all you need, and they're dedicated. I mean, Minecraft people are crazy. They're very dedicated to everything. So
Yeah, no, and it's very, very noticeable, especially because before you used to see people just complain on Reddit, on YouTube that things are terrible and Mojang, please fix it, like the PDD
right,
petitions from this year, last year, and every single time they just get ignored. But
yeah,
now that there's actually an outlet to get things to happen where Mojang can't ignore it anymore, now people are actually rallying behind it.
yeah.
Like
People can't
just
ignore
looking
this.
at the and just looking at the engagement, it's at 3 million views and it has 315,000 likes.
That's
If I compare that to the other videos I have that have like 2 million views, that's more
right.
than 3 to 4 times the engagement.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's no, that's
Yeah, like
insanity.
on average, the other two videos I have, which recently uploaded 2.4 million views each, they have 3,000 comments on average. This one has 23,000.
That's yeah. No, my most viewed video, I don't even think it has that many comments. Or no, my most viewed video, it only has like 150,000. It doesn't have like 300,000. Like so people
Yeah.
are very this has been this has been brewing. Like this has been
Oh yeah, for
brewing
sure.
in the community for a long time. It was only a matter of time, I think, until someone finally pulled the
Actually started
trigger
it.
and actually goes after the big company. And I think yeah, you're the guy that just so happened to do it. And then yeah, you're reaping from that, which is How much has the fundraiser made so far? I know it made over. I know you hit the goal, but what's it at right now in USD?
It's at 1.3 million crowns, which is $120,000.
And
Which is a lot,
that's
but very little at the same time. Because yes, this is within the bare minimum of what we need. But
yeah,
like I keep reading the comments and there's people saying that it's very little, that it's gonna extend for years. But like at the end of the day, this isn't really American jurisdiction, right?
right.
So it's
It's
different
European.
systems where you can't just extend something forever. We've got stuff to like force them to speed up,
Right.
compensate if they're determined to be extending things for no reason. So I'm having a little faith that once this legal process actually starts, it is going to be proper. So it's not about accessing it anymore, but more about executing it.
Right. That
Yeah.
actually that's the perfect segue into the first question I have on here, or one of them. How long do you think this lawsuit will take, realistically?
Honestly, less than a year.
Less than a year.
I know that this sounds very optimistic, and the
Mm-hmm.
reason I say this is because we're most likely going to have to split it into multiple smaller class action lawsuits. And what I
Mm.
mean by that is that if you were to bundle everything into one class action lawsuit, then you need to like go through every single thing within that one class action lawsuit.
Right.
So if I just give a quick example, seeking damages is difficult because you need to prove the damage that it has caused,
Right.
right? And there, Mojang would have to argue that, yeah, no, this isn't damages. This doesn't qualify as damages. Can you prove that this damage was actually due to us? And that's going to extend the process that we're going to have to pay for legally because all of this is part of the legal process.
Right.
So if we were to initially just start with a class action lawsuit about only the problems in the EULA without seeking damages,
Mm-hmm.
then it's no longer about, okay, compensate us for what you've done, but more like, is what you've done wrong, as in it broke the law, not seeking damages, and then you build off of the result of that one into an additional class action lawsuit where you then seek damages. Because
Ooh.
if you already have a previous class action lawsuit that has one in our favor where it's proven that they broke the law, then you just use that as a reference in case law for the next one.
Right.
And suddenly you don't have both of them that depend on the same judgment.
So you're
And
kind of
yeah.
you're building
So
like a snowball right now.
like that's the plan I'm thinking, at least logically speaking, talking with the people that have a legal background. It still
Mm-hmm.
needs to be confirmed, and just like yesterday we finished the list of every possible candidate for legal representation. This is something that is going to have to be talked with the lawyer, because at the end of the day this just makes sense to me that it's
Right.
going to be much easier and faster to proceed with something where we don't need to argue as much in court. Because
Right.
if we're going plainly into, okay, you have hidden clauses in the contract, what can they say against this? No, we don't. We have how much evidence we want on it. There's no way they can disprove this. Or like making changes without notifying people, ambiguities, they can't say anything about this because we have all the solid proof we need. We don't need to bring in people, we don't need to claim damages, etc. It should, at least logically speaking, be a lot faster and more straightforward. Again, this is all going to have to be discussed with the legal representation to know what the proper way forward is. But how long this takes is going to highly depend on the strategy we're going for the class action lawsuit.
Right. So
Yeah.
you're still talking with legal people, lawyers, stuff like that. It's not like you're not in court right now yet.
No, no, no. That's also an interesting distinction. I've seen people mention that the trials or like the files have been submitted, but that isn't the case yet. We're still
Right.
like in the preparation process, which is also why we're doing like these research rounds so that the lawyers don't have to do them. Like for example, every single time Mojang has modified any legal agreements, we want a list of it. We want to know what changed. We want to know if they notified of these changes. And then when we have this information, we can just go to our legal representative and tell them, okay, you want the list of when they did something? Here, we have the list. You don't need to look for it, and we don't have to pay you to look for it. So that
Right.
speeds up the process by using, well, the community that is behind us, which is one of the biggest advantages we have. Because while Mojang has to pay people to actually do all of this, we can have thousands of people mobilized in an instant. And that's not something they can compensate for with money.
No, you've got the public on your side, and the
Yeah.
public is arguably more powerful than any money you could throw at anything. And so what
Well,
you're doing is all the annoying work right now for so the lawyers don't have to do it.
Not really, because like there's one thing I've seen, because I did make a post about this online where
Mm-hmm.
people are claiming that this is paralegal work, which isn't actually paralegal work.
Hmm.
What we're doing isn't compiling testimonies, etc., or like sensitive information.
Right.
What we are compiling is publicly available information related to all of this that could be used then by the legal representative to mount the case. So, for example, the first topic was finding every single server that contained gambling in crates.
Right.
And within that, we had to check if they, for example, could be traded between players. We had to check if they were cosmetic only, if there were items that literally can't exist, like, for example, Unbreaking 5. That's
Right.
not a thing. Because every single thing, if the lawyer were to ask us, okay, we need to get the servers where they actually do qualify as gambling under Sweden's definition of gambling.
Right.
Because Mojang is going to argue that, yeah, no, this isn't gambling, therefore we didn't lie. And then we need to say, yeah, no, yeah, this is gambling. Here's what the government agency that regulates is, and here's 10 examples of it. Like plain examples that they have manually reviewed. So it's just like a little game of predict of what are they going to argue against, how are we going to argue against what they argue, then how are we going to argue against what they argue, just like back and forth. And while most of this is probably not going to be used, this is mostly for use for our legal representatives, so that if they say, okay, can you get me a list of servers where crates can do X, Y, and Z? Then we have, yes, out of these 100 entries that we have collected, 10 of these match. That's enough examples. So
Right.
that's the main purpose. So it's facilitating the process of looking for information. Like another one, if they wanted to know anytime there was a change to these legal agreements, they'd need to go to the Wayback Machine and we'd have to pay them for it. That's not sensitive information. Anybody has access to this.
Right.
So it's not like we're revealing anything that is hidden, etc. All of that is being kept through private channels, encrypted, etc. So this is just collecting what is publicly available so that we can facilitate our legal representatives' process of sifting through this information by
Right.
having it neatly presented.
That's that answered a lot of questions I had, actually, because there's a lot of people that were confused because there's a lot of different things that you talked about in your video. You talked about the EULA, you also talked about pay to win, and they're like, how are you going to bundle this? But you just explained it. It's not going to be one big thing. You're
But
making
it doesn't have to be. But that's the thing.
no.
That's the part we have to argue with our legal representative, because at the end of the day, the biggest limitation here is funding. Because like legally,
Right.
we're in the right. There is every single legal foundation that says that we are correct about all of this. The problem is, do we have enough to fight as long as we need to win?
Right.
And then once we get to that point, then what? And the risk there is, if we start with too much, there's the risk that we run out of funding and nothing happens. So is it better to win a partial victory where we force the EULA to comply with consumer protection laws? Or is it better to try and get a bigger one, which includes damages and everything, where we have a much higher risk of not being able to fight long term?
Right.
Because if we were to fight a short one first, which is the most important one, aka compliance with consumer protection laws,
Right.
then for one, it's very likely we're going to need to, they're going to have to compensate for our legal costs, which are going to then go forwards into the next class action and or refunded, depending on the desires of the donors.
Right.
And yeah, it's just the risk. It's risk assessment. Like within the means that we have available in terms of funding, how far can we take it? Reasonably based off of the expert opinion of the legal representation. If they think that it is completely unreasonable to try to scope everything we want together, aka seeking damages, etc., within the funding we have available, then we can't do that, because that's not a good idea, because the risk of losing due to not having enough funds to continue fighting long term is too dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, if we were to win a first initial one with just complies to consumer protection laws, this shows that we're not for show. This is actually happening.
This is
They're
legit.
losing, we're winning. So
Right.
if we need to do another round of funding, then people would hesitate a lot less, knowing that, hey, they actually
They
did
will
something
win.
about this and they won.
You just mentioned refund the donors. What do you mean by that?
So there's multiple things. One, under certain circumstances, it can be asked that the party that has lost the case needs to refund partial amounts of the opponent's legal fees.
Right.
So, for example, if we were to win, then Mojang could be liable to compensating us for some of our legal costs. That means that if we spend, for example, 1 million on legal fees, then we could get back, I don't know, 500,000. Again, this is up
Right.
to the judge to decide. It's very dependent on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
But this is something that we do need to look into, because in the ideal world, like the first thing is it's ridiculous we even need to pay for this. Because this
Exactly.
is already written in the law that it's just basic decency. You shouldn't hide things from people. You shouldn't have loose wording to the point where people have to just guess if something is allowed or not, because it's just not okay. You shouldn't have people have to stalk your blog every day to see if there's a EULA update just because you refuse to send an email, which we know
Exactly.
they can do based on the account migration. So this isn't they can't notify everyone, is they chose not to. So one, it's ridiculous that we even as a community have to pay for this because one, failure on the government, failure on for not doing something
Yeah,
about it.
you
Because
went to
this isn't
every agency and they all said no.
this isn't new. This has been a thing for 10 years. Like, how come it has to be me, the nobody that barely even plays Minecraft, that has to represent this when you have people that have way more money than I do that could do something about it? Like, it's crazy to think about that 1.3 million crowns isn't even that much. Like, that's the thing Mr. Beast gives away for 10 seconds of content.
Yeah, he gives away $1 million in a video or something.
Yeah.
I think he's doing Amazon something. He's doing like a Prime show where he gives away like
Yep.
some
5 million.
$5 million bucks. Yeah. So we
Again, like it just goes to show if you don't have the money, you cannot force companies to comply with the rights that should be given to you, and that's just very sad. And yeah, like in the ideal world and the ideal outcome is that we get compensated for one, the legal fees that went into the proceedings so that we can refund the donors that were part of it.
right.
Because one, it's not fair that they're the ones that have to pay for this, but like at this point, if we don't do anything, that nobody will, because we just know nobody will. So
Yeah, it's been
it
a
would
thing
be
for 10
really,
years and no one's done
it would be
anything.
really, really good if we can recover these costs so that we can recover some of the funds for the donors outside of the settlement that would be received.
Right. That makes sense. So hopefully the judge, at least you get something back, because yeah, that is ridiculous that you, and I did, you say it in the video, you went to what,
Yep.
4 agencies and they
I
all, and
exhausted every reasonable means of seeking justice in Sweden. There
so
is nothing else.
that's another got you, because there's been a lot of, I've seen a lot of stupid criticism towards you, and I don't think they've even watched your video, because it's obvious that you didn't want to ask everybody for money.
No, that was added last second. Like I even have the upload the day before the live one where that last bit wasn't even added. Like you can see based off of the 6-7 months it took me to edit this that the hair grew because I didn't cut it at all. So if you compare the hair at like the entire video to the last 30 seconds, you're gonna see that a long time passed there. So
Right.
those last 30 seconds, they weren't meant to be a part of the video. I never wanted to include them. Like I didn't want to include them myself because like that, I thought that's just bad for retention, sort of like a sponsorship.
Yeah.
But after like showing the unlisted one to get an opinion to multiple people, Salsi1 and Zunker told me that it might be a good idea to try a crowdfunding campaign because you never know. It could work, it could not work, and I've already gone so far.
I've talked to
Might
Sal.
as well
He's
try,
a good guy.
right?
You're
Yeah.
right.
And well, yeah, it exploded completely.
No, that's honestly, that was the best thing that could have happened, that video doing what it did, because you got what you got, at least the bare minimum, which yeah, that is still very ridiculous that you couldn't even get any funding. So the video is huge. It's viral at this point. 3 million views, over 3 million views in 11 days is, I consider that viral. People have covered your video and the situation. I made a video. I know Phoenix, what's that guy's name? Phoenix SC or something like that. Yeah, he made some videos about it. I know Toy Cat, he made like one video. Have any, no, he didn't. Yeah, that's another thing. Him and a few, it's kind of hilarious that it's weird. Like the old heads, for some reason, the Minecraft old heads aren't, I don't know. I think they're just Mojang shills. They just like associating with Mojang, so they're gonna just bootlick them at any turn possible.
I mean, there is some information I have that there are some content creators that are completely Mojang skills and do spread misinformation.
Really?
Genuinely, but like that is part of the
Mojang is paying them off to say
not
what they
quite
want.
paying them off, but let's just say they know about some things that are happening behind the scenes and are saying the opposite publicly.
Yeah, everyone watching this, please keep that in mind. There's some people out there that are purposely not telling the truth. I kind of figured that because there was no, I was like, there's no way people are this stupid. You explain everything in your video, and you have a document in the description that goes over every conceivable question, honestly.
Yeah.
This,
And like
honestly, I was,
generally,
yeah.
my question is usually, did you actually read the document that comes appended? Because it answers everything. Like
Well,
every question you have is in
well,
there.
you know,
And the thing is,
attention
one,
spans have been
yeah,
destroyed.
exactly. So at one point you have to ask, is it my fault for not having people actually look into it properly before putting a comment? But like then again, I understand that it is sort of my fault for not making the video around the class action lawsuits because
Right.
like at the end it wasn't meant to be that. So I didn't format it in a way that was supposed to lead into this. And within that, a lot of people thought that this was just getting funds for me to recover my own personal losses, which is just not what it is.
No.
It's a class action lawsuit. Uh, and yeah, that's definitely like a fault from my end because the video was just supposed to be like me giving up and complaining because like I tried everything, there's just nothing more that I could do.
But
And
now you
yeah,
can
then
actually, now you have a chance
yeah,
at least getting justice, which is,
now there's the chance. And like therein lies another thing. Even if we lose, the things that are gonna come out in court are gonna be devastating to
oh
Mojang.
yeah,
Because
there,
when you're in court, they're not allowed to deny answers to our questions. They have to
you
answer.
have to tell the
And the
truth.
questions we have, oof.
Oh yeah, no,
That's just gonna
that's,
be oof. So regardless, if we were to lose this, once the transcripts from the court proceedings come out, where they're forced to answer our questions, let's just say the community is never gonna have respect for them again,
well,
regardless of the outcome.
I didn't have respect for them to begin with because I'm
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be worth
the pay to
to lose it.
win, the pay to win alone. They have terms of service against pay to win, but they don't enforce it. And then we have people getting addicted to gambling. That's something I covered in my video. My friend Duper, he's a complete gambling addict, and he got introduced to gambling through Minecraft. And I've gotten so many people reach out to me and say how much they appreciated me covering that because most people don't cover that. And there's so many people that have the same story, and they got introduced to gambling through Minecraft. So it's
Yeah,
like, it's
exactly.
ridiculous.
And
That
there's
actually,
some very stupid
it's,
arguments
yeah,
that I see online that say that yeah, but it's not Mojang's responsibility to make sure parents parent properly. But and there's other arguments like it's not reasonable for Mojang to enforce every single server. Like they can't check every single server manually to make sure that they don't have gambling. And to me, these are extremely stupid arguments because
yeah,
for one, I understand the point that they cannot enforce every single server and manually check if they do have gambling.
right.
But the problem here is that would be claiming ignorance that they don't know. However, the problem here is that they fully know about it. We
Oh,
know
yeah,
that they have manually reviewed some of these servers and they have manually approved them, and they still allow them to exist through the existence of additional rules that go directly against the contract.
exactly.
That's the problem, because at that point, you cannot claim ignorance. You cannot claim, we didn't know, because you had Mojang enforcement members manually check these, take screenshots of the gambling inside
Yeah,
of the servers in some circumstances, and communicate this in emails that we have. So again, they cannot claim ignorance here that, yeah, we didn't know, it's not reasonable. Because again, I understand that there are always going to be some servers that try to do it,
right.
but once you get to the point of Mojang knowing about it, there it is their responsibility to do something about it. The
Yeah,
same way that, for example, once YouTube knows that there's copyright infringing content on YouTube, they're responsible for taking it down.
exactly.
Otherwise, YouTube would essentially be like a movie streaming clone where anyone can post anything. No, that is your platform,
Exactly.
and you're responsible for regulating the content on it. And
It,
there again, you have to
yeah,
ask the question. Yes, but it's not. It's the parents' fault for not checking that their kids aren't doing gambling. And then again, if you are a parent and you read through the EULA before buying the game, you're going to see that gambling is strictly prohibited. So
exactly.
you, as a parent/legal guardian, you think that the game is safe because Mojang is telling you it's safe. But it
Right.
turns out that that was a lie because they allow it to happen. So then again, it's not your responsibility as a parent to check if your child is doing gambling once you know that the game you're buying has its rules strictly saying that gambling is forbidden. And again, another thing, if Mojang properly enforced their rules and stopped gambling from happening, would children have gambling addictions? No, they
No,
wouldn't.
they would not.
And there lies the thing. Like, yes, I understand that these servers that have the gambling, yes, they are also at fault because they're the ones that that are causing the damage per se, because they're the ones where the gambling actually happens.
Right.
But by Mojang allowing this to happen when they are aware of it, they are the root cause of everything.
Yeah, it's on
Because
them.
at the end of the day, if Mojang properly enforced the rules, it wouldn't happen.
Exactly. I mean, in
Yep.
YouTube, they've been sued before because they didn't enforce certain things with like copyright, and then there was that thing with the kids content, like the Elsa gate, and then they had to make a button. This video was not made for.
Just one thing there. It is not Mojang's responsibility to regulate the content on another company's platform.
Exactly.
So like, yes, the things that are happening on YouTube Kids, especially with Minecraft, is terrible, but that is a YouTube problem. That's not.
Well, I just mean as an example of a big company being sued because they're not enforcing their own rules.
Yep, and
That's
there
what I
again,
mean.
there's the COPPA. There's the COPPA thing that
Yeah.
was released where I think it was like 10,000 for every violation or something like that.
Yeah.
Again, that's not being enforced. It should be enforced, but it's not being
Yeah,
enforced at all.
it
And
actually
look what's
isn't.
happening. So, but again, that's a YouTube problem. Does Mojang have the ability to do something about it? Absolutely. At the end of the day, they're showing copyrighted content. They can do a DMCA claim as long as it's not journalistic or free use.
Right.
But are they doing it? No. But again, this is more of a YouTube problem than a Mojang problem. And there, I cannot blame them for it because technically this is YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like I circling back to, a lot of people have made videos about it. Have any major media outlets reached out? I saw an article made, but it wasn't like a big media outlet. Have any major ones, like huge ones, reached out to you yet, or no?
Nope. No big ones. I've had small ones, and honestly, I read the first revisions that they wrote, and it's just straight up misinformation.
Really?
Yeah, like for example, this one sports skida, I read the first two versions they made, like, oh god, that's terrible. Everything is wrong. Like one, I think it said, I'm suing Microsoft. Like, no. I'm seeing lots of people say that I'm going up against Microsoft, but no. This is Mojang, not Microsoft.
Right.
Microsoft has no say in this. They can help fund lawyers, but this is Mojang, not Microsoft.
Right.
And then there's things that I am suing for my project, which again, not true. Another thing that I'm using funding to recover my losses, which again, not true if they read the document. Yeah, just lots of small details that are kind of annoying. Because it just goes to show, yeah, they didn't actually read
No.
information.
No one actually, it's incredible how many people just didn't read it. I mean, Grant, I can't say anything because I didn't even read the full thing, but
Here, for example,
I haven't
I'm
had
just
time.
gonna look at one of the articles that they wrote here. YouTuber tries to sue Minecraft
shit.
for repeatedly breaking multiple laws in the US and Europe. I never mentioned the US once.
No, you
Like,
only
they're breaking
mentioned
laws in
the
US.
European Union.
Yeah, I only said US because the laws are shit, which is true. And
I
that
mean, yeah.
also got a lot of people mad. But
No, I agree with you. I'm an American. I agree. I mean, we had a guy kill his wife, and then he was innocent in court. O.J. Simpson.
Yep.
He was
and
innocent.
there's the Disney case where they tried to dismiss a murder because they waived their rights to sue because of a Disney Plus subscription. Yeah, it's terrible. And then
Yeah.
another thing here, it says, Kian Brose, a streamer and longtime gamer. I'm not a streamer. I have never streamed.
A streamer? They called you a
Yeah,
have you ever live
yeah,
streamed?
I have like tried once, but that was because I accidentally clicked the button. But like,
That's
yeah,
really funny.
Just so many mistakes I see in these that are just completely incorrect.
You also, this is something you mentioned to me a little while ago. You said that Mojang was like kind of covering up the story. What do you mean by that? What are they doing to cover it up?
Okay, so at the start, at least, oh, 1 second, I'm getting a call. 1 second, let me just say I cannot right now.
You're very busy.
Okay, so what was the question again?
You mentioned when I first messaged you, you said something about Mojang trying to cover up the story.
Yes. Okay, so at the start, during the initial day or two, I believe, we were getting reports that mentions of the lawsuit on the Twitter account were being hidden. And if you wrote the text lawsuit on their Minecraft YouTube channel comments,
it would get deleted.
Removed. Yeah, it only happened for the word lawsuit.
Wow.
With S. We got videos of this, but then after we made an announcement about it, surprisingly,
they
those
stopped.
were gone. They stopped.
You know what they did? For YouTube, they put in censored words. That's like a setting you can have. They probably put the word lawsuit.
Yeah, And like you can see right now in their channel, they're in full damage control. They used to do like daily updates, and now they're not doing that anymore. For example, 1 second, youtube.com/Minecraft.
No, I could have, I went and looked myself a little bit, and I could immediately tell, like, you actually just their rep is completely obliterated, because
Yeah.
the people that are actually can actually read and read your thing, they know you're right. And then all these, it pissed me off. I had an argument with a couple people on Twitter actually about it.
No, I mean, I see that the 90% or above of arguments that are against this are people that either, one, don't understand what we're suing for,
Right.
two, haven't actually read details on the questions they have. So, for example, am I suing for myself, or is this a
No.
class action lawsuit? That's a common misunderstanding. And three, they have the misconception that we're suing Microsoft and not Mojang, which is not the case. Microsoft has no say here. This is European territory in a European country as a Swedish citizen against a Swedish company.
Exactly.
So yes, they can absolutely help by providing funds for lawyers, but American laws do not apply here. So
Exactly.
any waivers, forced arbitration, which actually is present in the Mojang TOS, those don't apply to me, and they don't apply to anybody in Europe. So again, they can try to pull whatever American stuff they want. That's not going to work here.
Nope.
They're going to have to get Swedish lawyers, and yeah.
And Swedish law is very different.
Yeah, and then again, there's also the other misconception that law isn't about who is right, but who has more money and can extend it infinitely, which is just really sad, because people understand that the legal system is completely broken, and they don't think that justice exists.
I mean, yeah, I can understand why some people say that, because it is crazy with some of the, I mean, there's been, who knows how many times there's been someone that's obviously right, but then they lose. Like, it's crazy how much money can influence a legal case. It's kind of almost concerning. And then you have systems in place that are supposed to stop that from happening. Like, you were supposed to be able to get funding from the government, and they didn't even do it. So
notice it doesn't have to be funding. It has to be some access to legal justice. So, for example,
exactly.
a proper way of doing a system like this would be community service, as far as lawyers are concerned. Because if you have a system like in Sweden that allows lawyers to even deny you access to justice based off of that they can't even accept, they can deny you based off of the fact that you need legal aid, that's not a proper justice system.
Right. I agree. No,
So,
yeah, that's so ridiculous that you couldn't even, you went to how many agencies again? Like 4?
No, it was dozens.
Dozens?
Like I did the same process I did now, where I collected, like, I think we're at 60 or something legal representatives, and I just sent email. I explained the case, can I get representation, and I have legal aid, etc. And it just like, no, refuse. I said in the video, or at least I showed in the video, that there were a few that didn't decline, but if I recall,
They were
just one that didn't straight up refuse.
And didn't you mention they were kind of like new lawyers or something?
Yeah. They're inexperienced, because like that's the thing. If you have a lawyer that is willing to reduce their rates by 70%, either they're an extremely good person or extremely inexperienced. Because if you're a lawyer that earns $400 an hour, you have no incentive to accept someone that needs you to charge like 70% less, because it doesn't make sense. You just say no, and then you go for the clients that are more expensive, and therein you deny access to proper justice.
Right. Another question I have on here on this list, you've mentioned it a few times, because a lot of stupid people, in my opinion. Sorry to say, there's a lot of stupid people.
No, I mean, one thing is being stupid, and another is being uninformed. Like, if they're informed about it and still have stupid decisions, then yes, they are stupid. But if
I think they're being willingly ignorant, though. If they're not even reading what you have to say, they're just watching your video and trying to dismantle you on Twitter. Like, I saw, there was so many. I don't even want to say their names, because they're just like not even worth it. But it is very, very infuriating that people don't understand. Like, I understood it, and I honestly haven't even read the full document. I read some of it. I had Duper Trooper explain most of it to me, because he is, at least, like, he's like kind of like you guys have been talking, so he's more informed about it.
Oh yeah, he knows the full background.
Oh yeah.
Like, again, the thing is, they don't need to read the entire document. Just like go to the FAQ section, and that has the answers
Frequently
to like
asked
all
questions,
of the
right?
questions. Because like 90% of that document is just further context for the thing in the video.
Right. You're
So
just
you don't even need to
clarifying
look at the
things.
context. You just need to go to the FAQ section, which is really, really short, and that has the answers to basically everything.
Right. Hopefully this podcast is a good place for people to, if they don't want to read and they just want to watch something, maybe this will be better for those types of people. But
Yeah.
for clarity reasons, I don't know if you've even mentioned this publicly, but how much money did you spend on your own project that you are probably going to lose because of the, because you can't
Like
even put the server out?
the thing about my project, which I did put into the sheet, is that it was never actually shut down.
Really?
So that's one of the things that I see inside some threads, that I lied about my server shutting down, because one, I didn't say that my server shut down.
Right.
And I can actually tell you what it says directly in the document here. Let me check. Here it is. I looked into the project you ran, MC War, and it does not appear to have shut down even through these enforcements. Why? And then I said, just paraphrasing what I already publicly stated, this is a good observation. Even though I was made aware of this new hidden enforcement that would force guns to be removed, I proceeded with the server launch as I was in a state of copium, aka like denial.
Right.
I was hoping that Mojang would just change their minds while they're talking to GTM, when they realize that it's detrimental to the community and that nothing would change, that it wouldn't affect me. As in, that I was hoping that nothing would change, they'd change their minds, and that it wouldn't affect me. But as time went by and we weren't getting anywhere, like we were getting these, they're on vacation, etc. And at that point, we still had the requirement, they had just removed them, they're not okay. The thought of having to scrap everything at a moment's notice, it just like lingered in my mind and made me unable to invest proper time or resources into the project. And
Right.
by that, it doesn't necessarily have to mean money, because like the biggest currency that is put into the project is time.
Exactly.
Because I am the marketing, I am the programmer. If I need marketing for it, I make the YouTube videos for it, I make the TikTok for it, I make everything for it. So I couldn't justify me spending time on it when at any moment we could get that reply one day later when they stop being on vacation, saying that, yeah, no, it's not okay, scrap everything.
Oh
Because at
yeah, I
that point,
remember you saying
yeah,
that people were on vacation. They were like, "Oh, they're on vacation. We'll get back to you."
yeah, and that's the thing. Lots of people say, yeah, but you could have kept going 6 months. And it's like, we didn't know that it was going to take 6 months. As far as we were concerned, it was like, oh yeah, they're on vacation. Okay, like give them like a week, not like half a year of pregnant parental leave, which isn't also what it was, because like 6 months, anybody can tell you that's just BS.
Yeah,
So
I
at
think
that
that.
point,
Yeah.
we were on a day-by-day basis with the constant thought of, okay, are they going to reply today? Okay, how about tomorrow? How about tomorrow? How about tomorrow? Where every single day, the reply we could receive would be either, okay, one, scrap everything, two, it's okay. And when you're put in that position where you already know that they come in with the notion that they want everything to be scrapped because that's their initial stance, it doesn't look too optimistic. So
Yeah.
you cannot, in good faith, invest anything into the project when you know that the next day everything could be scrapped just because. And while I did know about these enforcements, because like as I mentioned, the day after posting the release date, then that is when I knew that about this enforcement, I kept releasing it because I think that it is a perfectly reasonable reaction to still launch something that you've put months of work into, and not just be
Right.
like, okay, when somebody tells you to just toss everything away and scrap it.
All right. All this hard work you put in for months. Yep. Just no. Yeah, I wouldn't do that shit either. That would be complete bullshit if I had to do that. That
Yeah,
actually,
no.
you kind of partially answered another question I had there, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. So,
I
like,
mean, there's one thing I didn't fully answer there yet,
what?
which is a common question that I also see about the Twitter gold check mark. And for one,
Oh,
that one I see it being a common question about, how can you justify purchasing one of those? And the thing about the gold check mark is that at the time, and I say at the time because now the gold check mark still exists, but it functions differently.
right.
At the time, you could use the gold checkmark to massively boost the impressions of the account for absolutely anyone within a specific niche.
Right.
So anyone within Minecraft would essentially have this project's account be visible, which is how you see some of the initial posts. They have thousands, I think, like some tens of thousands of views as a completely new account.
Right.
And this, like, you know how Twitter works. You post something, it gets like 3 views. So that is a sizable boost.
Right.
So yes, I know that some people may say that it could be considered a commercial project based off of that there was an investment like this. But then again, if you buy art supplies to make a painting, is that painting commercial? No, it's just like the cost of making it happen. Just because
Right.
you create something doesn't mean it's commercial. And then again, according to the TOS, they say that everything that isn't commercial is commercial, so that's a bit skewed. But the specifics of the gold check mark is that I didn't get paid, as in I didn't pay for it directly.
Right.
Instead, I did work for a friend, as in I created software for him in exchange of him buying the check mark for me.
Oh, okay. So
So
you didn't even buy
technically
it.
speaking, I didn't buy it out of pocket. I exchanged it based off of the worth of my time developing that software in exchange for the gold checkmark. But
Right.
like in other words, if I wanted to have been paid like straight up without it having to be a gold checkmark, I would have been paid directly. So it's basically equivalent.
Right. So you did it like you did a trade. You did an exchange.
Yeah.
That
It's
makes
just a
sense.
fair exchange of value.
That
Because like at my position, I wanted to get it anyways because I know the boost in impressions it was gonna give. But then it's either A, they buy it for me directly, or A, they pay me first and then I buy it for myself, and it was just more efficient to have them do it for me.
right. So they bought the check mark. So you didn't buy that or use any funding for that.
Nope.
No,
Not out of pocket. The
not out
biggest
of
currency in
pocket.
all of this is time. And
All
therein
of it.
lies the
Yeah.
reason why I say that I consider everything lost, because arguing for damages for lost time is very difficult.
Right.
Because, for one, how do you value lost time? It's difficult because, one, what exactly am I? Do I count as a software developer? How exactly do you calculate how many hours I actually put into it? It's just lots of things that would make the process difficult. And
Right.
since this has evolved into a class action lawsuit, my specific case isn't relevant at all. It can essentially be completely forgotten because I'm now just a pool of the victims of the many servers and etc. that have been shut down because of these kinds of hidden terms. So, so yeah, that's basically it.
Do you know how many servers have been shut down because of the bullshit terms? Do you know? Do you have like a
Uh,
number?
we we have tried contacting the guy that runs the Minecraft server blocklist on Twitter, but he was kind of, let's just say, being rather uncooperative.
Hmm.
So we are running a scraper to scrape every single historically known block for a Minecraft server so that we can know exactly how many things have been blocked because of this. But I'd guess in the thousands.
Thousands. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And
The guy
these
was
are
being
servers.
combative. What do you mean by that? He
Yeah.
was like, he didn't want to talk to you guys?
1 second, let me check exactly. Basically, we couldn't contact the guy directly because he has his DMs turned off, but we
Oh,
contacted a guy that knew him,
right.
and he said, in different words, but to get the same point across, he said the answer is no.
Oh, he just said no.
Yeah, but like in different words to get the same point across, that sort of sounds like he's kind of very against this. Because
Which
like
is
we
interesting.
did want to talk to him because he did say on his Twitter account that attempted to be taken down in 2011, and I would really like to know the context behind that. But yeah, he's being completely uncooperative, unfortunately. So we have to get that information the hard way,
That
aka
is
scrapers.
that is very that's really confusing why he wouldn't even want to talk to you guys. I get
Honestly, he's most likely behind NDA from Mojang because he also stopped doing any of those activities in 2013, I think. So he hasn't been logging any blocks since then, which
really.
there has been. So there's some very weird business happening there where it's very likely that the account stayed up because he signed something with Mojang.
That's so weird. You know, I kind of figured that this would be a thing in Minecraft because I've
Mhm.
mentioned it before. When I did unturned content, which was that's what how I started, there were a few creators that would purposely shill for smartly dressed games. That's the people that make unturned. It's just one guy, but that's the company's name, right? They you
Mhm.
know they would shill for him. I don't think it's to the scale that Mojang is doing financially. I think it's more of like they want to associate with the company, so they're gonna say what they need to say to associate with the company. But the no, I kind of figured that, but I really didn't think it would be this bad to where you have people that are seen as credible purposely lying on behalf of the big corporation for their own benefit, which is, and it's also funny because one of the people that did this, I'm not going to say their
I mean,
names.
one of the points there is you say for their own benefit, but sometimes it isn't for their own benefit. One thing I can say there is that the subreddits aren't what you think they are.
What do you mean by
I
that?
can't really go into that a lot.
Oh, okay. Don't jeopardize
but yeah.
anything. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, let's just say Mojang has a history of systematic censorship, but yes.
I kind of figured that too. It's very interesting. Kind of circling, you mentioned how, well, there's actually two things here that I could ask. I might, here, I'll ask this one first. Well, you said you make your own videos. Do you have help making YouTube videos, or is it all done by you?
Yeah, no, it's all done by me. I can't trust anybody else to do them.
Even the big video you just put out, that was 100% you.
Yep, that took
Right.
6-7 months to make. Really
Really?
painful.
This is kind of a funny question that also relates to that. What type of green screen do you use?
Oh no, I was borrowing my cousin's green screen because I didn't have one.
Really? Your cousin had a green screen?
Yep, she works, or at least she studied
Oh.
for film school, and then she had like a green screen. I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
really?
Can I borrow your equipment?
That's cool. I went to film school.
I got to borrow the green screen, the lighting equipment,
Oh.
one of her tripods. So it was nice. It was nice.
You had like those key lights and all that?
I'm not sure what they're called. Like I had lights everywhere.
Right. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, those two were funny. And then there's another one. Oh wait, actually this one is, you mentioned Mojang censorship. This kind of relates to that. Has Mojang banned you from the game yet?
No, but I don't think they can. I didn't violate anything.
Okay, cuz they did ban Duper Trooper from Minecraft. They banned his original account. What are your thoughts on them banning Duper?
I'm not sure I know the context behind it because he didn't tell me that this happened, but that would be really interesting to know about because suspending a consumer service needs to be justifiable by the contract terms, which goes into the account migration, but there's a little bit more stuff there that I can't fully talk about.
Yeah. No, they banned Duper Trooper, and the reason behind it was really shady. I don't know if I can fully. I don't think he'll get mad because there's people that have actually made videos about him being banned, but essentially he was just friends with some a group of people. I won't say their name, but it was like
it's like there's a number in there, isn't it?
Yeah, there is a number in it. I think you probably know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm in contact with them. Yeah.
Yeah, they I'm pretty sure they like got onto a private server for Mojang. Yeah, and Duper somehow got wrapped up in that and got banned, even though he wasn't even involved. Yeah, so that's kind of shady. I kind of think they just
we're in contact and we're investigating because the thing is there needs to be some justification to suspend a service that a consumer paid for.
Right. Yeah, because I think that was bullshit. Because honestly, what I think, this is my personal opinion. I don't know if this is the truth. I think it's near the truth. I think Mojang is just mad at Duper for finding dupes in game, like in the actual game, because he has done that, and I think they were mad at him for that and banned him for it.
Yep.
Which is, I think that's hysterical.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask him to send me those emails because that's the first time I hear that he's directly involved in that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't get mad at me for saying that. I don't think he will, because there's been videos made about it. I think people have covered it already. Hopefully he doesn't get mad. I think he'll be all right with it.
No, it'll be all right. Like the sensitive stuff is just the emails the way they worded.
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
That's gonna get taken to court.
Right. How did you get into programming?
Long story short, didn't do well at school. I saw that school was just like a way to get to a job.
Right.
And the reason you want a job is to get money.
Right.
So I figured, why don't I just skip the school and get the money?
I
started off making like programs for mobile games so that I could farm items automatically and then sell them in RMT markets. And yeah, that's how everything started. Just making bots for mobile games, getting items automatically and selling it on websites like G2G.
That's crazy. I did see it. I watched some of your other videos. You have a few where you did a Clash Royale where you had something. because they're pay to win.
Yeah. It's these kinds of bots that I just run. Like I
Right.
make mod menus modifications to games just to like deal damage faster, automate something, teleport, etc.
Right.
Then I make it do something useful. And but what I mean by useful is that there's useful cheats and there's non-useful cheats. And the way I categorize those is you have cheats like an aimbot that doesn't do anything. It's just like, yeah, okay, you aim good, but now what? Are you actually earning something from this?
It's more
And
of a vanity thing.
yeah, I made like a documentary actually about like the types of cheating in multiplayer.
Oh.
That's like ego cheating. Like you just cheat because it's fun.
Yeah, it's
But
like
then you get into
vanity.
yeah, you get into the profit cheating, which is where I was, where you're the one that actually makes the things and sell them.
You said, did you graduate? Do they call it high school in Sweden? Did you graduate high school?
I'm not sure what the equivalent is. High school the same as university?
In the U.S. we have elementary. That's like the first school. Then we have a middle school, which is like the between, and then we have high school, and then from high school, then you go to like university or college.
Yeah, then high school, I think that would be gymnasia in Sweden, and yes.
Okay, that's interesting though. What do they call it in Sweden? What do they call high school?
Like gymnasium, like a gym, which makes no sense, but yes, it's a gym.
They call it gymnasium. That's interesting.
Yep, it's weird.
I mean, we have gym classes in high school, but they call the whole thing gymnasium
as well. But like that's what the actual thing is called in Sweden. That's the term for it, a gymnasia.
Translations are funny.
Yep, like a very annoying translation when this comes like in this entire case is gambling. Like there is no word for gambling in Swedish. The word for gambling is spel, but spel is a synonym for game. As in Minecraft is a game, but you use the same word for game as gambling. So if you want to say that the children are gambling, it's like barn spelar spel, and that's not like children play games. So like there's lots of ways to read the word spel, which is really weird because you want to like word it as gambling, but it's hard because there is no word for gambling.
Will that be a problem if you file around the gambling thing, which I assume you're going to do? Is that going to be a problem because of the words?
We just have to like the words are going to be a problem for me because like personally I'm much more well versed in legal stuff in English, and Swedish is just like legal words don't make a lot of sense.
Right.
But yeah, then again, that's what the legal representative is for. But yeah, it's not going to be a problem because at the end of the day, as long as they understand we're talking about gambling, it's not a problem. It's like if you just read the word spel, it can either be gambling or game.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. That's just the one word that has really bothered me so far.
Right. Spell. How do you pronounce it? Spiel. Interesting.
Yep.
So wait, if I said the children are gambling, wait, so it's like spell or something funny like that?
Just spell. That's how it is. That's both game and gambling.
Very interesting. That's very
Swedish.
Interesting. Swedish, yeah. That's a very interesting language. So like we've mentioned it a little bit that you have gotten some criticism, and I've obviously said that I think a lot of it is just complete bullshit. Do you think you've received any valid criticism at all from anybody?
Oh yes, absolutely. Like I could have presented it better in the video. But then again, at that point, it was already fully edited. I didn't expect it to blow up as well as it did, but yeah, that's a fault on my end. Because like that video just turned out to be more than it was meant to be, so it wasn't even designed around that point. And what I mean by designed, like when you make a video like this, you always like design it in a way.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was designed more like a journalistic rant than actual call to action. So yeah, there definitely could have been lots of things that I could have said better, worded better. And that's the most valid criticism I see, because lots of misinformation spread out of that because I didn't explain it properly enough.
Do you plan on making a follow-up video?
Oh yeah.
Really?
I mean, especially related to this, now that we're taking it to court, like the second one is going to be the court outcome.
Right. Well, will you make like a video clarifying anything, or do you think you're just going to leave that one up the way it is and not make anything after it and then make the court one?
I mean, the thing about the clarifications is that if you're someone that actually wants to know the answer, then you're going to look for it. And if you look for it, it's there because I put it there everywhere.
You put it,
like,
yeah.
It's not even hidden. Just scroll down to the FAQ section anywhere or literally ping me about it. That's not a mystery. But at the end of the day, if you don't even have that level of desire to know the answer, another video is not going to do anything.
Right.
Because you already have your opinion and you don't care about what anybody else is going to say. And at that point, those people making any additional videos isn't going to do anything.
Right.
So at that point, it's just, okay, sit back, watch me.
So that's so funny that that's so funny that you made the video and it was going to be more of like, hey, I tried to do this and I got completely screwed over. And then everyone jumped in. They're like, let's donate to the, well, you put the, you said it, you put the GoFundMe thing at the end, like last minute.
Yep. Day before.
The day before.
Not even high effort, just sitting on a chair in front of a green screen, like improper lighting that I completely messed up. Green spill all over me that I had to like somewhat color correct. Yeah, it's just like one go, one take, 20 minutes, done.
And then you put it out and it gets 3 million views and you raise over 100 grand.
Yep.
And now you're currently in the process of getting ready to file the lawsuit, which is a it's a class action and it's a group one. So yeah, again, I got to correct myself because I kind of, even in my video, I kind of worded things weird where I said that, like, I kind of made it sound like you yourself were suing them. But no, I don't know. I said that, but then I also said the community.
Therein lies the problem, because I didn't explain it properly enough to the point that it confused even you.
Right. Yeah, I got a little, I knew you were doing a community effort thing.
Yeah.
But I thought it was you, the one going. But no, it is a group effort with multiple individuals.
I mean, that depends on the interpretation, because I am somewhat of a representative. Because like when you have a class action lawsuit, you need to have someone that's there.
Right.
And that would be like my role. So under some interpretation, you could say that like I am the one that is doing it.
Right.
But by another interpretation, that sounds like I'm doing it for me.
No, you're not. You're doing it for the community and everyone else that has been negatively affected.
In the community, like I am also included within that community, but like it's not just for me, in other words.
Right. So you're going to use your like project as one of probably several examples of Mojang screwing over their community.
The thing about the guns is it's the clearest example of them messing up to an unbelievable degree. Because
Right.
like, there are tons of other examples, like how they shut down the Archon because of competitive, etc. They shut down their payouts, pay-to-win items, competitive things, etc. There's lots of examples, but like the gun one is the biggest example with tons of receipts of them messing up.
Yeah, even in the Minecraft movie trailer, their fucking movie, isn't there like...
They have a gun. No, you know what really pissed us off?
What?
When we were getting ignored for 6 months, they did a collab with NERF. And we're just watching here like, yeah, we're still waiting for your response, and here you are doing a collab with NERF guns.
Guns. NERF guns!
So they're okay doing a direct collab with NERF, and we're still here waiting for a CEO response.
Not only that, but their crossbows in Minecraft and in multiple jurisdictions, I actually looked this up for my video.
Yep.
Multiple jurisdictions, crossbows count as firearms, even though they're not
That's the thing about contracts. They need to be worded really specifically, because once you say weapon, like weapon, how do you classify?
Yeah, because there's weapons in Minecraft.
Because a sword is a weapon.
An axe is a weapon.
Like the most ancient medieval type of sword.
A stick can count as a weapon.
Everything. I mean, a fork can be a weapon. A spoon can be a weapon as long as wielded wrong enough.
Yeah, I could fucking use this plastic fork to stab someone in the eye, and I could be charged for using a lethal weapon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like again, there's lots of weird definitions, and there you get into the people that are going to argue, yes, but you lack common sense. But therein lies the thing. This isn't about having common sense. It's about, this is a contract. It has to be clear.
Right.
There is no room for reinterpretation, because we already know that if we do leave it to common sense, Mojang is not reasonable. They do not act on reason. They use any kind of ambiguity against your best interests.
Very anti-consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people have rose-tinted glasses when it comes to Mojang, because they were seen as a very small indie studio that created the biggest game of all time.
Yeah.
They are completely
$1.5 billion company.
They're completely corporate, and they're owned by one of the biggest corporations on the planet with a net cap of like 2 trillion. And
it's just small corporate, small tiny company right there, small company.
Yeah, and they have that little office in
Yeah.
Stockholm.
No, honestly, it was ridiculous. Like when I was planning, like when I was starting to plan out going there physically, I was like, wait, is this like actually their office? Because like it looks like the most plain building in existence. The only indication that it is Mojang's building is if you look inside the window, or there's this little silver plaque outside. Otherwise than that, you would never guess. And it's like in front of a bunker as well, which is really weird.
It's interesting. I wonder how much. Obviously, so you know you said this already. It's Swedish jurisdiction. Microsoft can't get involved because they're an American company. This
No,
is
there and again, there's a little thing when you say can't get involved, which is incorrect, which is they can get involved through funding lawyers. However, I think the biggest distinction there is that when people say Microsoft is going to get involved, is they're thinking that Microsoft lawyers are going to get involved, and there are
they
American
can't.
lawyers there, and they don't have a say here. So they need to get European lawyers for this, and that is something they absolutely can and probably will help with, because for one, Mojang doesn't have a legal team; it's all Microsoft, so they're going to have to speed up the things a bit,
Right.
and yeah, it's just that. So they can absolutely help, but within the means that are legal within this jurisdiction, which is a pain for them because they're going to actually have to see that things don't work like in America.
Right. I hope that this has I hope this story goes similarly to that. We actually talked about it already, the instance where the dad sued Roblox because of some where the items would get removed and
Yep.
you'd have to rebuy them, and that was like a complete honestly it's a scam pretty much,
Yeah, no, it is. They didn't provide compensation or anything. And the best part is he won in America, where they even tried to use forced arbitration clauses against a child.
which is insane.
Yep, that just goes to show the state of the American legal system. It's a joke.
At least he won, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, no, but still, but he won on the technicality that it cannot be argued that a child can understand what that means.
Yeah, like a
And again,
9-year-old
that,
doesn't know what the
yeah,
fuck any of
exactly.
that means.
That you even
It's
have to
insanity.
argue this kind of thing is, yeah, it's insanity.
It
It
is
makes no sense.
insanity. I have two more questions on this. These are it's like they're the same but they're not the same. And this is the first one. We'll start off with the yikes one and then we'll end off with the yay one. What
Mhm.
will you do if you lose?
Mm. I mean, honestly, I'd rather not think about that part because the
Right.
consequences of losing are too great. Because
No.
like there's multiple aspects of losing. Like, what kind of aspect are we talking about? Are we talking about the running out of funding and dropping the case losing, or the judge rules against us losing? Because there is a huge distinction between those two.
Well, what do you think your chances of the judge ruling against you are? What do you think the chances of that are? Cuz I don't think
I
it's
think
very big.
I think it's impossible for them to rule against us
Right.
as long as we can fight it long enough. And by that, I don't mean 10 years, because again, this shouldn't take that long. There's just
No,
so much
it shouldn't.
substantial evidence. But like, I think the biggest risk is running out of funding and then having to drop out. That's the biggest risk.
Right.
But like, the risk of losing per se, like as in the judge rules against us, that's going to have absolutely devastating consequences, because that's going to essentially mean that any company can have hidden terms, ambiguous clauses, etc. And again, that sounds ridiculous, so I don't see a universe in which that happens.
No,
But
I
the
don't think it will.
consequences, yeah, the consequences of losing are too great, but the consequences of winning set the precedent worldwide about what happens here.
And
So it is
that's a
massively
perfect
important.
segue into my next question. What will you do if you win?
Oh, then I mean, like me, I'd like to continue it, because like that again depends on how much we win it and whether we do split it into multiple smaller ones. But again, since it's technically not my money, I'm just responsible for it. I need to ask the donors for what they want. So like let's say we win the first class action lawsuit. Okay, so we know that we won this.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we have this much funds left, which
Right.
might be the same as we started with because we get compensated, etc. Plus
I hope
settlements.
so.
And at that point, you have to ask, okay, are the donors okay with that we continue this process, or do we provide refunds for everyone?
When you say donors, you're talking about the crowdfunding, or were there other individuals that donated privately?
No. I didn't. There were people that wanted to donate via Bitcoin, but like for transparency, I said like, no, thank you. The thought is good, but it has to be transparent and through GoFundMe.
So when you say
And
the donors, you're talking about the GoFundMe people?
Yes, because at the end it's their money, it's not mine. This isn't income for me. I'm just responsible for using it to the extents that are necessary to win the legal case. So if there's anything left over, it's their money, it's not mine. If we want to keep fighting with it, etc., that's their decision because that's their money. So we'd have to pull a vote and see, okay, what do we want to happen? The ones that want refunds, okay, you get a refund. The ones that want to stick by and fight, then we see the situation as it is then. But I do think that once we get to the point of we actually won one, I don't think that there's going to be people that want to back down. If anything, more people want to join in. Because like, the thing is, let's say that there is a settlement. Usually a settlement divided by this many participants is going to be like $0.5 per person. Like, it's nothing. So at that point, you could even ask the settlement participants of, hey, so you know those 5 cents you got from Mojang? What if you like give them to us and we keep going?
Right.
Could be an option. We don't know.
Is that a system built in GoFundMe where you can refund the donors?
No, actually, they told me to remove that because I did write it explicitly, but then they said that I couldn't put that because of their like TOS. So I had to remove that. But like I just put out an announcement about it where I want to be clear that even though I'm not allowed to write it there, that's the full intention.
Which is good. That's crazy though. No, I'm looking at the GoFundMe right now. It says 106 people just donated, and you have 5,800 something donations.
Yep.
Dude, I knew this because there's so many. I knew so many people that were pissed off at Mojang for all this shit. Like this been like you said, it's been like this for 10 years.
Yep.
People have had enough, and this is good. I think it's good that the community is coming together, and I think like I think everyone needs to be vigilant, and I think everyone has to be careful because, like you said, there are some people out there that people see as like, you know, credible that are gonna just do Mojang's bidding pretty much on their behalf without clarifying that. Which is that is that even legal, by the way?
I can't go into the specific details of what happened there because that's a particular piece of info we got.
Okay. I will not continue that.
I really wish I could talk about that one because that's like one of the spiciest things we got. But yeah, no, I can't. That needs to be taken straight to the judge.
I will not.
Straight to the legal representative.
I have a lot of questions about that and the implications, but I you'll probably say that will come out when you file.
No,
that
like,
will
come
out.
Everything is going to come out when we file. But like, if Mojang knew we had this, then oh my god, they're going to be angry.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be going down the second that comes out.
Oh yeah, like some people's credibility is going to shatter.
I really want to know who, but I can't ask that.
Yeah.
No, I can't ask that at all. I personally don't have any more questions on my document here. If you want to say anything though, please do. I think we could wrap it up here. You're very busy. I don't want to keep you for more than an hour. It's been an hour and 7 minutes, so I think we could. Yep. I think this was good. If we need to do a follow up, I'll let you know. I think.
Yep, but like other than that, honestly, nope, no comments. Like I'm doing it. Like there's one thing. Like for example, just yesterday we finished the list of all possible candidates, and I really want to be fully transparent with the candidates that we chose and how we chose them. But
right.
We already got information and tips that there are groups of people that want to sabotage this. So like, for example, you have people that are using Vencord that are trying to see what hidden channels we have. Or like if we're having any like hidden names in tickets that they could like...
You've got shady people on you right now?
Yeah, we like there's already psyops in there that are trying to sabotage. And so given that there is this group of people that are honestly like jobless individuals, they are likely to try and harass the legal firms that we have collected that would be suitable for our case. So while the initial thought was that all of these sheets, etc., should be public, I cannot do that based off of the notion that these trolls could ruin our chances with the case by harassing these lawyers.
Right. Yeah, so you...
a bit of a problem.
Yeah, like, so you want to tell people who you're picking, but you can't because then they might get harassed?
I mean, that's the thing. Because, like, I want to do the things up to the extent that it doesn't hurt the case. But if revealing who it is going to hurt the case, as in they're going to start getting constant harassment by a certain group of people, that's going to be problematic. Because it's not your regular troll. It's trolls that know how to use technology a bit, and it's going to be painful.
Yeah, black hat people, those types of people.
Yeah, I'd say more like script kiddies, but they're not that useless.
Right. So they could do serious damage. That actually does. There is one actual question on here I didn't ask, which I think I could ask. I don't know if this is a stupid question or not. So the money raised for the lawsuit, how will it be spent? Can you go into detail about that?
Anything that is required for the legal process.
Anything
So
required?
lawyers, consultation, like anything that is required within the reasonable means to win the case. Nothing else.
Nothing else at all.
Nope.
Good, because I saw some
sole
stupid
purpose of
people
winning the case.
saying that you were gonna like. I saw someone say like, "Oh, he's just gonna pocket the money and then just vanish." Like, no,
Yep.
that's not.
That's a common sentiment.
That's not possible.
People are free to have their opinions. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not possible, because it is possible. Like, I could ask them to transfer to my account and I disappear. But like, no, that's not the goal here. Like, I want the justice to happen here. I've already went this far, and I'm going to take it further based off of that there is the possibility of taking it further. Like, even then, let's say there's 1.3 million. How much income is this? Objectively, it's not even that much. Like, if you can have people claim that this is not even close to what you would need for something like this, then like, what benefit is there to rug pulling something like this? It just doesn't even make sense from any way you look at it.
You wouldn't ask for money if you didn't have a case.
No. And then again, that information is public. Anybody, especially within the European Union, you're free to contact the lawyers working under the European Commission and ask them about it. Like, go on the websites, everything is cited. You're going to see that everything that has been cited has legal basis. It's not like I'm making stuff up.
I still can't believe there were so many people that just like, no, they definitely, there's something shady is going on regarding that.
It doesn't have to be something shady. It's just like some people are just stupid.
I do, but I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, so I think there's some shady shit going on. But we'll see when the case comes out. I can't ask anything about that. That is the most interesting thing though about it is that I'm not. That's the last thing I'll say about that. I think we'll wrap it up there. I appreciate the time. I think this will be what we did here will be very useful for a lot of people to clarify a lot of things, because there has been a lot of misinformation, a lot of people that have misunderstood you. In fact, one of the people I saw criticizing you the most, which I won't say his name, I'll hint though, it begins with M. He even said later on that he didn't even really understand it. So this jackass is like talking shit all over Twitter. And then he
defended the standard corporate practices that happen to be illegal, but yeah, you know, people are free to have their opinions.
Yeah, the communist is defending the big corporation. That's the funniest thing to me.
I mean, I don't know his background. It's like, just based off of that comment, doesn't look good.
No.
That's all I can say.
No, I think his mom is very disappointed.
No, I mean, who knows? Who knows? At the end of the day, he's free to have an opinion.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, I appreciate you. That was thank you for being, dude. I've had the last 3 guests I've had have been great. I had Gokunaru, Duper, and then you. This is great. But yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it as well.